Welcome to this very special episode, as all episodes of Enlightened Masculinity are very special. This special episode today, what day is today? June 5th, 6/5/2022, the year 2022. Ancient history in the future, the fucking sci-fi to the past, and present time to us today. This episode I called Sheepish Language of Men and Women That You May Encounter. It's a long title. It's a working title also. And this is, of course, a red pill show, Enlightened Masculinity. So all kinds of, those subjects, taboo, male, female, masculine, feminine, and also enlightenment, spirituality. So that whole angle on things. So welcome to the show. If it's your first time on the show, catch the recording on any of the apps, the podcast apps or whatever. Like, share, follow, leave a review. Sheepish language, just a couple ideas, really, maybe three, I think, total ideas. And I'm sure I'll circle through as I do, or maybe that's not the right wording. I'll meander through a lot of ideas as I get to these three main things. So I'll really try to fast, just kind of say the three ideas because I'm sure I'll have more to say about it. And the first idea is that a man is a woman might say, my man likes me for me, whether I lose weight or not, whether I wear makeup or not, whether I do my hair did or not, whether I paint my nails or not, whether I'm done up or not. He likes me for me. Okay, so that's some sheep language. That's not just like wrong. It's just sheepish. Why is it sheepish? Because it well, I'll get into it. So let's say there's two other sound bites. Sheepish language. Here's sheepish language. A guy leaves me on red, which means I send them a message and they read it but don't reply. Then they do it again. I send another message. They leave it on red. They might even not read it, but let's say they read it, which happens more often than you think in what I do, which is like sales and things. And so I get a lot of like those kinds of messages. You probably do too. And so at some point I call the person out 3, 4, 5 times later, they leave me on red and I say, hey, if you leave me on red, I'm removing you. You need to reply here. Something like that. Then all of a sudden they reply. Hostile. Ridiculous. Like some people will reply, hey, my bad, blah, 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 blah. That's not what I'm talking about. A lot, like how many? 3 out of 5 will reply something like, don't have to be rude about it. Or like the guy said today, I thought yogis were supposed to be not confrontational. That's just straight sheepish, right? What are you saying? I'm a little lamb to be pummeled? Am I a punching bag for you to just neglect this communication line as if it's not important? If you don't make it important, I'm making it unimportant. And since I'm in the business of educating people about how to communicate, I thought I'd at least let you know that I'm removing you because you don't know how to communicate. Right? So that's just sheepish because it treats other people like they're not important, which is how they themselves are being treated. Because why else would you do that? Or they've been treated like that in the past, or they're just doing it in a way that's it's very bad communication because it's still clogging up your inbox. You're allowing your messages you're receiving messages from me. Do you receive so few messages that it doesn't burden you or bother you in some way that you're receiving messages from someone that you don't want to receive messages from? Just remove them. Block them, tell them to stop messaging you. You value yourself so little. That's how I know you're a sheep. If you leave me on red like that and then come back with hostility like that. But it's still just so amazing that they are checking the messages because they're receiving the messages and they're not replying. But then as soon as I say I'm removing you, now all of a sudden you have a problem with it. Why? Because I'm exerting control where you have none. Whereas before, the only control you had was to leave it on red, and that was within your control, to open it or not. Since you didn't have control of your language, you didn't say anything. But now that I'm taking this communication line out of your hands, which I'm not blocking the person, they can still message me. So why now do you reply? God, you're such a sheep. Is it they're a sheep because they wait to reply? Yeah. You were just saying that it wasn't worth your time by not replying. And now all of a sudden it's worth your time? Why? Because you're about to lose something. I just told you you're losing reputation with me. And you're going to defend it passive aggressively like, You thought I was supposed to be non-confrontational. What do you want me to come back all non-confrontationally about it now? Like, you know what? You're right. I didn't mean to blah, blah, blah. Like, I don't even know how to be that weak. It's not even real to me. I called him a pussy right afterwards. He poses like a macho guy. Doesn't matter. He has a group. He's part of this Built from Pain movement. That's one of the dropouts from IMC started this thing. He's still registered on Dragon Slayer, but the whole group is a group of pussies. Now, could 6 of them beat me up? Could 2 of them beat me up? I'm not saying it like that. Even though I think 2 would probably have a hard time. 6, I think, would probably have a fucking hard time. But I'm not trying to test that. That's not what I'm saying. That's where the guy goes with it, even though he lives in New Jersey or something. It's like, you are such a sheep. That bah. What did you buy? You might as well buy. I'm not saying that. Mentally, you can't compete. You can't say nothing. You can't do nothing. You write something and it's going to be, who's going to watch it? Who's going to listen to it? Who's going to read it? Who cares what you say? You're posing. You're a poser. That's why I wish I had called him that. So that was him. Then the third communication line. So the first one I'll talk about in a second. The woman, she says, he likes me for whatever. He likes me for me, not for how I look. The other one was, here's the leave you on red. Man, I don't remember the other one. I should have written it down. Okay, we'll talk about the woman one. So the woman says, he likes me for me, whether I lose weight or not. Nah. You definitely, I hope he likes you for your personality and whatever, but lose 30 pounds and he's going to like you more. Or if you're too skinny, gain that weight or put on those curves and he'll like you more. And you'll feel it. And maybe you can't face that because if you indeed lost 30 pounds and he started liking you more, how are you going to reason that to yourself? What are you going to tell yourself? Well, he just likes because I have more energy, or because it's going to come down to you look better. The same guy still likes you for you, but he likes you more because you now have a better cover. You now have a better picture. You now have a better clothing. You now look better. And you're a sheep for thinking that he doesn't have that preference. What is he? Some preferenceless, like, is he a man? What a man reproduces. That's like what he's designed to protect his offspring. He's designed to protect the woman that's pregnant with his kid. He's designed to align with other men that can protect their women. She's designed to have a baby. Are you saying you have no preference in how he looks or acts, that you wouldn't like him more if he took better care of himself? Your lack of standards is sheep. No standards is sheep. Sheep don't have standards because sheep are slaves, and slaves can't have standards. So it's a sheepish value to not have standards, to be standardless, or to think I have standards, but the standard is not my appearance. That's sheepish. That's what a woman that has no choice in her appearance has to convince herself that. A man that has no choice in female standards has to convince himself that it's not about her looks. Yeah, if you don't have any choice, then of course it's not about the looks. That's not within your realm of choice. If it's not within your realm of choice, that's because you're a sheep. Now there's dimensions to life. So maybe you're sheep on one subject and not on another subject. I get that. I get that there's like a gradient to this thing. It's a scale. There's levels to it, below which we might say this or that. Like I just met some anti-vaxxers. They're definitely not sheep when it comes to that. I mentioned my girl to one. I was like, yeah, for 2 years, I didn't even leave the house. My girl would bring me groceries and everybody would pay me. And I never left for like 2 or 3 weeks. I wouldn't leave and I would forget about masks. I would leave my mask at home, forgetting that the world was in masks. And my roommates would always be like, man, why do you keep forgetting your mask? And I'm like, dude, I don't even know that this is going on. Like I see it on Instagram, but and this is at the time, it was like, I see it on Instagram, but it's like, it's not even real to me. I never leave the house. Girl turns kind of cold. The one that was more into me, she turns kind of cold when I mentioned my girl. I note it. We keep talking. She still wants a hug goodbye, but it's like weird. I don't know. Doesn't matter. Maybe you're a sheep on that level. Because it shouldn't drop your attraction that I have a girl what are you looking at me as? You just met me. What are you looking at me as that you would lose, what you would close to meeting a great guy that you agree with? Because they were so timid about bringing up anti-vax. They had a whole wording for it. We're for health freedom or something. And I was like, what's that? And they're like, we go for having control over what you put on your body and in your body. And I was like, oh, and I kind of shoulder up a little bit, not like next to them, but just like I turn the shoulder and I'm like, what's the main topic that you're fighting for? And she was like, mainly vaccines. We're anti-vaxxers. And I was like, I think they said it more timidly. They were like, hey, vaccines, like maybe, I don't know how to do it like them. Anti-vaxxers. They fumbled their words a little bit. It was something that I read in it. And I said it at the time. I was like, I could tell you were like shy about that because we're in like Kami, California, and you don't know if I'm like that or not, because they were beating around the bush and I had to pry. Anybody that knows me, I pried a few questions to get to it. And it's like, man, all of a sudden, like freedom comes out because they're a little bit inhibited on that subject, right? Being where we're at. So that's exactly what the subject of women would be. Of course you have a girl. I should have said one of my girlfriends. Now you're going to get the challenge because I've done that before. When you say that, you could try to emphasize it as one of my female friends or one of my gal friends or one of my, make it so it's not that word girlfriend, one of my girlfriends. Because as soon as you say that, the woman's going to say, how many girlfriends do you have? And then you got to go into that thing. Which is, what do you say? Everybody, the guys, I can tell they're like listening, like, yeah, maybe I haven't necessarily worked that out perfectly. Give it practice, give it time. I'm organizing my life. One of the things that I'll be talking about tonight on the gathering, which the gathering talk is at 7. So I'll be talking on the gathering tonight. And, I'll go into this organization of life and how I see it, how I'm organizing my life, where I came from in terms of like replacing activities in my life and organizing my schedule and organizing my habits. I've come a long way and I see more to go. And I see this kind of, what I'm doing to set myself up for success, to set it up. It's like you're at the gym and you're going to work out, you do the right stretches, you get the right gear on, you do the right, self-talk, you get the right music in, and you set yourself up for success. And it's like, you got the right pre-workout, the right after workout meal, you set yourself up for success. It's like, okay, you got to make your wake up. So you're going to set your bedding and you clean your room and you're going to set your alarms and everything, so that like, and you already roll your joint in the morning. So it's like there, so that when you wake up, there's like nothing slowing you down. It's like, you're ready to wake up. So set yourself up for success. So how I've been setting myself up for success on this unplugged lifestyle, because I don't want to be a sheep on any subject. And I would be full-heady, I think, to say something like, I'm unplugged on everything. I think probably far along. Yeah. I think I'm far along on this or that, but I'm comparing myself to sheep. And I don't want to do that. I don't know if comparison's necessary or worth it at all, really, but if I have this idea in my head, and maybe this comes from Arash Jibazar, is I want to compare myself to my ideal. What's my potential? Let me compare myself to this. And then, how do I not get down on myself about that? It's what it takes. That's what I'm talking about tonight. It's what it takes to be able to do this. And it builds gradually, incrementally. I'm about to make a video blog for my yoga program. If you guys want to learn yoga, it's called Yoga for Sorcerers, but it's really yoga for everybody. There's only a few advanced classes in there that you wouldn't be able to do. And I'm going to record a video blog that promotes it. And I'll be talking about how it's incremental. The body changes incrementally. Don't look for big changes. It's like piece it together, piece by piece, like you slap clay on it, or you chisel some away, or you reach a little bit further, or you hold a little bit longer. It's just incremental. And there's a method under it. It's this enjoyment of the activity. So sheepish, I don't want to get too far. It's like, I even feel fake right there. Like I heard in my voice, like the sound of inauthenticity. It was like emphasizing the word too much. I didn't like it. I think that I probably have a real big ego. I think that it's Tony was like, yep. I think that I like meeting high level guys and talking with them because, and let me say it this way. I like when guys in the IMC Nation movement become higher level because we are interacting with each other in a way where we're at different levels, but as they become higher level, I am faced with a new level, like I must respect them in a different way. They are faced with more power and responsibility that really shows where they're not responsible enough for that yet, even though they've come up levels. So then they get humbled. They get humbled. I get humbled. Everybody gets humbled. And, so when other guys learn techniques of communication and influence, like tonality or different wording, or just a different strategy of how to influence and to take it somewhere in a conversation. And when I interact with them and I feel and experience them doing those techniques to me, and then I start to notice it's almost like a worthy opponent. It's somebody, I have an agenda and I didn't realize how much I push my agenda on people until someone else is skilled enough to push their agenda on me. And then maybe we compete a little bit with agendas and we see how we handle that, because we've been handling life without having people competing at our level for the attention of our peers, for the money flows, for whatever. And so as your brothers become higher and higher level and you interact with them, and we're not necessarily in that kind of competition with each other. So you may eventually, I think you'll come into some conflicts. And it doesn't mean that you'll break relationship with that person, maybe temporarily, but how you navigate it. And then if you notice the other guys, like somebody does a private moment and they get way better. And then now the next time you converse with them, their communication's more influential on you. And you're like, well, fuck, now I gotta, and then if you get better, and when you get better, and if you're taking advantage, which we all do. I'm not over here angel. I'm over here warrior that's facing my own bad habits as I increase my abilities. So I increase, like I can imagine Lone Wolf, as he gets stronger, he has to face any wrong alignments because injury will happen. You bench press 400 pounds with wrong alignment, it's going to be different than when you bench press 150 pounds. As you wear and tear, as you level up, and then if he starts training dozens of people, then he's got to face bad alignment, because then other people with different bodies now have to handle that weight load and that movement and everything. So, with more responsibility, you'll see where you're off. You start doing sales and you start seeing where you're off. You start picking up chicks or trying to date lots of chicks or whatever. You see where you're off. You see where you don't know how to talk about the other girl to the original girl. It's too big a deal, because it's too big a deal to you and the way you think about it and express about it. Yeah, she's going to have a problem with it. How many times did I go through a girl having a problem with it? She still goes through problems with it. Sometimes, actually, she doesn't. That was kind of talking out my ass there, because she doesn't have problems with it. And she's the audience member. That's the fucking, everybody knows is my fucking girl. And there'll be more. There's already a second girl that's like completely committed her life. It's not the original, the other second girl. Original. That wasn't even the original. I've gone through so many And that won't be it. That's two. That two is just to attract a third. A third brings balance to it, but a third is so close to only having two. I really need four. Four gives safety, I think. Four gives safety to the dynamic. And it's not that I need safety. I'll be fine. It's just that my life relies on my sense of stability and my consistency in things. And it's, you know, I'm not having fake relationships, so I get affected when shit doesn't go the right way. And, you know, one-on-one, it's too unstable. There's always been multiple, but it's like get some girls to some level so that you can rely on them to follow through with some things. And, you know, they become extensions of you instead of just like, you know, continual repair jobs and continual fucking band-aiding and whatever, just sapping you of energy just for the prestige of having a second girl or just for the sex or some gratification of some sort. It's not that worth it. It's worth it while it's worth it. You go through the experiences, but it's like, you know, we're looking for people that are supporting your life on whatever level they're at and getting them there. Because you're not going to find them there. Right. Interesting. Why four? Chris Lopez. Interesting. Why four? Why for what? Why? Oh, why four girls? Because when you just have one, it's you versus her. Any disagreements, and she always wins that. And then if two on one, then they can always team up, which they will, to control you. So then when you have three, there's always going to be one that defects. Never will all three agree. And if they do, then you're wrong. You're either wrong for being with all three of them, or you're wrong in whatever the argument is. So if all three, but then if one disagrees, then you know that the other two are trying to manipulate the situation. Or that they're just not for you, and really the other one that agreed with you, that's the one that's for you. Usually when that happens, another one defects, and it's really just one suppressive person, which is one of the three girls that was trying to control you. But three is real close to two. One could always leave, and then now you're at two. So you really need four. And then we could say you really need five, because what if you lose two or six or seven? But four is like, that's what I had worked out for myself. You know, four at that level of whatever it is, where they feel not that they're equals, not that they're able to replace each other, but that it's not that they're competition. It's kind of like so my brothers might be able to do my job if I fuck up. They can handle all the payments. They can get guys signed up for camps. They can handle the Zoom links. They can handle the website. They can do everything that I do, be as consistent as I am. Now, the fact is not one of them can. It would take three of them probably. And eventually maybe they would level up. I'm 35. I have a PhD. I'm not new at like excelling at this stuff. I'm just like, maybe not like, you know, not like a veteran salesman or whatever. I'm just like doing what I do. I'm a student that filled a space, filled a role because it got me closer. And now I've made it. So this is what I'll talk about on the gathering tonight. Now I've made it so I've pieced my life together into this way that, so I'll lay out the map that I see for you, or for me. Rulitos, again on the stream. What's up, Rulitos? It cut me off earlier because of the song. Yeah, I don't recall where I was going with that. All right, Phoenix, you got your hand up, and then let's just do questions for 8 minutes and wrap it up.
I just want to speak to having four girlfriends. It makes perfect sense from a spiritual aspect too. Man has four aspects to himself: a spiritual aspect, physical aspect, social aspect, and a mental aspect. So I guess you were saying those women are extensions of yourself. So each woman could fulfill those aspects of yourself too, as extensions of yourself. One can fulfill you more physically, one fulfills you more mentally, one more spiritually, and so forth.
Sure. Well, I mean, I don't want to theorize too much about it. I don't have four women, and not like on that level. And I remember what I was saying is a level where they feel so that like I will feel at first I'll feel threatened when somebody levels up so much that they can like replace me if they could. If they were good enough for that, I would feel like, oh, that would feel different than before I felt irreplaceable. Now, what'll happen immediately thereafter, because I'm a good person, is then I will just strengthen up and become even better. there was power in me, potential in me that I wasn't expressing because nobody was pushing me to express that. I was in my own lane. And so the race begins, but then, that's that. It's still, we would still be brothers too. And eventually maybe they'd be helping, which they are. I'm helping them help me. They could eventually overtake me. They could do better than me if they do better than me. And so you could almost say, like, right now I'm on a level of my own. You could almost say like Ebo is on my level. And in fact, Ebo gets more for free because I pay for certain things. Ebo doesn't pay. But Ebo did business with Arash before me. We both arrived around the same time, but he arrived as a business person and got his business booming. And, has always been loyal and good and everything. So it's almost like two girls meet the same guy at the same time, but one is in a worse condition, let's say, financially, appearance-wise, maybe she's on drugs or something. No, the other one is ready to go, becomes girlfriend right away. And the other one has to keep improving and eventually improves enough where like start coming around, eventually works their way up to, and then now it's like, what a story. It's a different story. And I don't know about levels, but they're comparable. They're like on the same level. This is what I mean by like girls, have 4 girls that are on a comparable level instead of just having like one that's just like, and then another one is better. And then the next one's like, yeah. And the next one's like, oh, I'm all about that one. Like it won't work like that. You basically just have one at 4 different levels is what you have in that sense. And so about being extensions, I really mean it more like wielding them like an extension, like I would play this instrument, or I would throw a baseball, or I would swing a bat. I don't know why I'm going to baseball. So you wield it like, versus like, so Lone Wolf is working out. He knows how to use the instrument, the machine. If he didn't know how to use the machine, he wouldn't be wielding it very well. And if you don't know how to be with the woman or her to be with you, she's not with you. She's not cooperating with you. You're trying to use the machine and it keeps moving out of your way every time you reach for it or something. And it's like, man, you're wasting energy instead of producing something. So I need to be able to wield her. And then as far as the 4 spiritual aspects, I don't know that. I think that, yeah, be in theory land with that. Like the sheath for a sword. More like if I had 4 swords. Yeah, I mean, I get the analogy in the sheath for my sword. It's it'd be more like if I had a knife, and then I had a pistol, and then I had like a sword across my back, and then I also had some mace or something. I don't know, a fucking taser. So I have like 4 different weapons, and like each one would be like the girl. I'm the wielder, but they are that instrument, that tool, that object that amplifies my power only because of my skill. It could also be dangerous around me because of my skill. Maybe I try to hold all 4 weapons at once, and then I end up macing myself and then drop the sword on my foot. And that's what happens when like 2 girls leave you when you have 4 girls, and you think, well, he still has 2 girls, he should be happy. And it's like, nah, he feels like he just lost 2 girls. It's like he felt like he just lost a girl and then lost a girl, and it's like 2 breakups at the same time. So it's like twice as much. So, I mean, it's an analogy, and it's an analogy that makes sense. And of course, I learned from Ross G. Bazaar. So on this recording, this is going to get posted. Shout out to Tony K. Tony K posts all these on all the apps. If you're catching the recording, leave a review and go to imcbase1.com for the gathering. Everybody here should be on the gathering. There's the dating and relationship camp that's next weekend in Los Angeles. It's online also, very affordable online. And then the AZD gathering is the week after. There'll be a bunch of private moments. There'll be some really dope lecture, and there'll be some infield going out. And I tell you, we're really changing things around here in Campbell, and it's just a matter of a few months, and it's just going to be like completely our territory. So many people are going to know us. Within a year, it's just going to be like, we're just putting in that time, putting in that effort. I'll talk about that on gathering tonight. So I hope everybody's, oh, Tony's here. I'm glad I gave him a shout out. I didn't even know he was here. Hell yeah. And Kickstart Cash. Let's see. Anybody else want to say anything too here? Yeah. Zothes. Oh, you need to hear that lecture, but gotta get on gathering. Fuck. Message me about, what proposal you have, questions or anything. Okay, I'll see you guys. Os.